I'm very excited to welcome to the stage Patak. Patak is a core team member for the Vite team. Hey, Patak.
Hey.
But more importantly, you also are very active in the Vite Discord. And I thought that was something that I really wanted to kind of hear more about, which is why we were hoping to have you speak to us a little bit about the Discord and the community that you've built there.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me here, and happy holidays to everyone. So let me present. Let me check. Share screen. Okay. Are you seeing the screen? Okay, that's good. So yeah, we are going to talk about the Vite community chat hub. Normally, I will be talking about Vite, the build tool. Like if you're doing a web application, I hope that you have tried it out. But today, the focus is a little bit different. So a little bit about myself. I'm Matias Capeletto, but online you may know me as Patak. That's my cat Zorro now in the snow this week. And I'm a Vite core team member, and I work at Stackbridge doing open source, like where I get time to focus on the Vite ecosystem. And yeah, let's see like why it's important to have a community hub in like an open source project. And first, like ephemeral real-time communication really helps to build relationships between the community. And you get to see a side of people that maybe it is like not seen when you interact with people in GitHub or in other more formal mediums. And still, like it is a double-edged sword because it is sometimes very easy to fall into discussing a lot in these like real-time chats. We use Discord for the Vite community, for example. And I think that it should be taken like when you do a call with someone. So if anything important is discussed in Discord, then it should still reach up to GitHub later or to documentation or to like more formal mediums. So it is searchable. And yeah, I wanted to do a shout out to Algolia because like we use Algolia for the search in our docs, like before I continue. So yeah. And yeah, some words about doing a healthy setup in Discord. One of the first things that you should do is to change the default setting for notifications. That first, if you create a server, every message that you send, it will send a little like ping to everyone. And then also everyone in the community can use @channel or @everyone that will notify all. And in the ViteLAN, for example, our Discord, we are more than 20K people there. And yeah, if it is a mess, the default. So notification should be disabled for everyone. And we use it very, very like for only very important stuff. And it's also good to tell people to avoid, for example, if they ask a question, they shouldn't tag someone in particular from the team or someone. It should be a question to everyone, and whoever has the time or the knowledge can answer that. And it is important to have clear rules also and enforcing like a code of conduct. These communities are global and they are very diverse. And if you don't have proper moderation and like a moderation team that hopefully will emerge from the community that you're doing, it will be really hairy. So yeah, for example, we have rules channels like with really like clear, trying to set the tone and a link to the full code of conduct. They are a very good templates that you can use for your own projects. And yeah, that also Discord has this community feature that when your server reaches out a certain level, you can set up so you have like a proper rules web like widget, the dialogue that appears when everyone joins. And Discord also have like very good system of roles that you can use to recognize people and like help forming, for example, this moderation team later on as more people start to be active in your community. Like about organizing the spaces, there are some Discord that you will enter and have only like very few channels. And I think that is very good to have like ample space and different topical channels. So everyone that can kind of create their own sub communities. There are maybe people that will be more inclined to talk about performance in Vite, for example, or about testing. And we have spaces that are only for that. And there will still be, like, for example, the image here is about our contributing channel. So if you enter our community and want to like discuss about a PR that you're doing or an issue that you're having and want to try to fix it yourself, we are going to be there to help you out and try to see how, like you can get involved and collaborate. And there are going to be some channels that are very high volume. For example, we have the discussions channels, and there it is a good idea to use threads that, like, from each of the messages you can create a new thread, so you don't talk between all the messages of other people. And there are also forum channels that are very good for help requests and showcases. In the next one, like how to handle support, like we can see an image of how it looks, one of these forum channels. We use one of them for our own help channel in Bitlan. And one thing that is extremely important, I think, with these open source communities is that it's very usual that people join just to ask a question, for example. And there you will have like two sides there. Like you will have that kind of people, or you will have people that really join for the community. And all these questions, all these help questions, really the only way that the community will scale is actually if there is no hard division between users and a support team. In open source projects, there is no such a thing. Let's say, like, you have probably teams that are a few people. So if you want this to scale, it really needs to be a value of the community that everyone helps each other. And it helps a lot to have like a clear place for all the questions. So like we direct everyone that has a support question to use this help forum. So in that way, we don't flood all the other channels, the topical channels, with many questions. And one thing that is extremely important is also like educating members on how to ask questions, because sometimes it doesn't work, this like support interchange, because people just ask a question without giving proper context. For example, just sharing an error message without actually sharing what they are trying to do and what is the problem. And in this kind of sense, we have like really good tools. Like, for example, like the company that I work with, that Staglit does online IDE that you can create a minimal reproduction and share it in Discord. So a lot of that education lately is actually trying to say like, hey, like what is the real problem, or like, can you create a minimal reproduction and share it with others? Because, and sometimes when in the process of creating that minimal reproduction, the user will already realize what is the problem. I wanted to mention also ViteConf, that is a conference we do yearly, that we organize from Staglitz, and this was the second year this time, as I was saying, like 2 months ago. And for this conference, we integrated our community hub with the streaming experience. So in the left side of the video, as it was playing, this was like a 24-hour marathon with all like 40 speakers with the Vite, from the Vite ecosystem. And we had this chat where a lot of people were discussing with the speakers. That was not live, so like the speakers were there. And from there, they could go to our Discord, and we had a forum channel with one post per talk. So like each speaker will have their own little space where, apart from the main chat that was like a lot of like, yeah, the talk was great, and there were like a lot of reactions, this was more about, okay, let's continue the discussion about this particular project. So it really worked it out very well for us, and like I recommend also checking it out. And I also wanted to mention something about private spaces. Like this can be a little bit controversial because the idea will be that everything should be in public. But if you don't create these more private spaces for your team and from the people that are like close to the project, they will still talk in DMs. And then you will have a lot of really useful information and discussions that is going to be only one-to-one, and that could reach a bigger number of people. So I think that it's very healthy to have these private spaces and promote their usage. And they help a lot also in creating like a core team of collaborators, because if in this public chat you see another side of the people that you work with, in these even more private spaces, you are going to get maybe a joke that it wasn't that good to do in a public one setting, or like some kind of comments that are like better fit for these private spaces. And it really helped with bonding. And talking again about this double-edged sword, still you should push for as much of the communication to be in public channels, because it is really easy to fall into like talking in these private spaces. But again, like they are still quite useful, but you have to take them with care. And yeah, I wanted to do a call to action and to like for you to get involved in open source projects. Like all these projects, and I imagine like the tools that you use, they have a community hub, like the ones that we have been discussing here. And they are very friendly communities. So yeah, I suggest that you join them, and yeah, participate in discussion and help others is a very good way to get started. And if you enjoy like building tooling for the web, I advise you join us at chat.vitejs.dev, or you go to the documentation, you will have a link there. But any of the projects you like surely you will have like a very great experience going there. So thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thank you, Patak. Definitely appreciate all of this insight. And absolutely, like, encourage folks, get involved in open source. And if you're looking for a friendly, open community, the Vite community is a wonderful community and a wonderful platform to dig into if you haven't used it before. So definitely encourage that. I do have a couple questions coming in from Q&A, and if you do have a question for Patak, feel free to ask it in our Q&A section. Daniel was asking, did you look at Matrix or consider Matrix when you were looking at Discord?
That's a very good question. I think the Matrix folks are doing a great job, and like if you like check out Element, it's amazing how much it is improving. I think it could work for us, but to be honest, at this point, almost all the open source project, in the same way that they are in GitHub and not in like a more like open federated option, they are in Discord. So like all our teams are there. So that was kind of like natural for us to create. I really hope that our Discord at one point will adopt Matrix. That for people that don't know about, it is like a federated protocol of communication. Discord is like a property thing, proprietary thing. So it will be like the same idea of Twitter and Mastodon, let's say. For example, like we built with the Vite community and the Nax community, we built a Mastodon client that's called Elk, if you want to check it out. But our communication are still in Discord for Elk. So like, I think Discord works very well at this point.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said for having like React and Astro as your neighbors, right? And just being sort of right there, right next to them all for a developer that has to bounce between platforms and all of those things. So.
Yeah, totally. I hope that at one point they will adopt something open and like everybody can use whatever they want.
Cool. I got a couple more questions here and then I'll let you go. The first one is, what would you say the balance of spending time in Discord versus actually developing or writing code is on a day-to-day basis for you personally or for folks within the community?
I think it depends a lot on like the kind of people. For example, like in the team, there are some people that likes more like only focusing on code, and like in particular, I like both things. Like my involvement with Vite at the beginning, for example, was a lot of like when the Discord was created. Like I was there at the beginning, so I was part of that initial group helping build it. But lately, I will say that the community is so big and there is so like already other people like also helping out that I use Discord a lot because there is a lot of communication and coordination with the team and the ecosystem, and there are like a lot of also like some public communication. But I would say that lately is not as much as it was at the beginning. That it was like when Discord is very small, let's say like 50, 100, 200, the first 200 people, like it is so interesting at that point, like that first like bubbling of like building up that is that there you spend a lot of time at the beginning.
Right on, right on. It's kind of nice to see the community grow. I always say that, like, as a developer advocate, the most rewarding thing for me is to see someone else saying the thing that I would have said. You know what I mean? Like someone asks a question and to see someone else in the community answer that question and be like, oh, cool. This is nice. Like everyone is sort of working together now.
Yeah.
You feel good.
And actually it's very important, I think, like to like if you are trying to build this kind of things, like don't try to jump and answer everything. Like it is a lot better to try to like take a step back and let another one answer, and that is success in this kind of like settings. As you said, like when the community itself is like working, that's very, very good.
Love it. Last question for you. What is your word?
Is store.
Store is the last word of our super secret password that I'm sure no one had figured out by this point. But Patak, I just want to thank you for joining us today and talking about community and talking about Vite and giving some folks some thoughts about how to be a good community member and how to kind of come into the Vite community.
Thanks a lot for the invite. Happy
holidays,
everyone.
Yeah, take care.